Sisu leadership based on a Finnish term describing the ability to sustain in the face of tremendous headwinds, which these CEOs do encounter from capital markets. So they're anchored in their beliefs and therefore are able to withstand and work against these headwinds in a better way than other CEOs who are less anchored in a set of values or perspectives and take on whatever the environment is asking of them as their goals.
Now, in the book, you identify the 5 leadership goals that are essential for a higher ambition leader.
Yes, but first thing I want to say is these leaders are different personally in some ways, not in their style so much or in their personalities, but in their perspective. That is what leads to a different way of managing. They think of themselves as being part of a team and enabling a team as opposed to thinking about themselves as heroic or the center of decision-making. They are anchored in a set of values, and there's a large degree of authenticity in the way they go about managing. They know who they are, and they continually understand that to reach for strength, they need to go back into themselves as opposed to looking to the outside to ask what to do. They have integrity, not only in a sense of honesty, which obviously is necessary, but there's an integration between their internal values and their actions, and they integrate many aspects of the firm. They are good at enacting what we call the simultaneous solve, solving the problem in a way that meets the goals of shareholders but does not undermine the needs of employees and builds value for them and for customers, community, suppliers, partners, and society. Those are the things that lead them to then fashion a set of practices. And the first one we call building a strategic identity. They don't first look to the outside to see what the opportunities are and what the competitors are doing. That's a second step in their strategic process. But the first step is to better understand who they are, to define who the firm is in some basic way, either in terms of core capabilities or the kind of contribution the firm wants to make. For example, at Southwest Airlines, they don't start with our job is profits or our job is to run an airline. It is to serve people. And by people, they mean, of course, customers, and they also mean their employees, who they treat as customers. But they develop this notion of who they are and what they want to do in the world and what they want to contribute in the world. And it's deeply connected to the passion that people have in the organization about what they do, and it's deeply connected to their capabilities. So they manage strategy from the inside out. Once they identify who they are, they obviously have to look to the competitive environment, what the opportunities are, and they have to look at the financial returns. Another example is Nokia. Nokia was at one time a very multi-business organization and called in a consulting firm to ask them what they should do strategically. And the firm said, you should never go into the cell phone business. Surely you're going to lose. The CEO ignored that advice, looked inside and said, that's what we're really passionate about. We're going to get rid of all the other businesses. That's what we're good at doing. Our engineers really have a set of ideas here. So even though we're told that's not what we should be doing, if we look at the competitive environment, that's what we believe we can do. That fueled a lot of energy. These CEOs are great at developing energy and reducing friction. They also generally follow relatively conservative business policies concerning debt and growth. A good example of that would be Hewlett-Packard, who all the way in their history never had any debt. By the way, Southwest Airlines does not either, because they believe it puts into play a lot of forces from capital markets and from their bankers that might force them to do things they don't want to do that undermine the basic trust they have created with their various stakeholders. The second major way in which they drive sustainable performance is to have emphasis on goals that are large and visionary. They do this in a number of ways. First of all, by involving people in the process of creating a vision and creating a set of goals. Peter Sands, who is the CEO at Standard Chartered Bank in the UK, it's a multinational bank primarily in Asia and Africa, involved the top 300 and ultimately a larger group of people in his company in creating a vision for the company that included not only their business goals but their values. And that created a lot of energy and enabled them to ask people to do as much as they could do. And these CEOs create worthy goals. A good example of that would be Doug Conant. When he took over Campbell Soup, he set out 3 goals. We're going to be great in the marketplace. We have to win in the workplace, and we have to contribute to community. Setting those kinds of goals energizes people. It creates meaning for what they do by tying it to higher purpose, to more than just financial results. I can tell you there have been numerous times